Every single time you log into an app, check your email, or open a file in the cloud, there's this invisible guardian standing at the gate checking your ID. That guardian is user authentication, and today we're going to pull back the curtain on how it keeps your entire digital life safe and sound.
But let's just start with a really direct question for you. How confident are you, really, that your online accounts are secure? It's a question that honestly affects every single one of us every single day we go online.
All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. We're going to start with what authentication really is, our digital gatekeeper. Then we'll dig into the big problem with passwords. After that, we'll uncover the secret ways your password is kept hidden, talk about adding more layers of security, peek into the future of logging in, and then wrap it all up with your ultimate security takeaway.
Okay, first up, your digital gatekeeper. At its very core, every single login system out there, from your social media to your online banking, is designed to answer one question that sounds really simple, but is actually incredibly important.
And that fundamental question is, who are you? Authentication is just the official name for the process of proving you are who you say you are. You can think of it as the foundation of all digital trust. Without it, the whole system falls apart, right? Anyone could just waltz into your email, your bank account, your work files. It is the one critical barrier standing between your private data and the rest of the world.
And that brings us right to the heart of the matter, the problem with passwords. For decades now, the password has been our main line of defense. But the truth is, it's a pretty flawed and often fragile one.
And the reasons why are probably all too familiar. First, let's be honest. We use weak, easy-to-guess passwords. Then, we make it worse by reusing that same weak password everywhere. So if one site gets breached, well, they're all vulnerable. On top of that, we fall for these clever phishing scams that trick us into just handing over our credentials. And all the while, behind the scenes, hackers are running these relentless attacks or using massive lists from data breaches to crack millions of passwords at once. It's really a perfect storm of our own bad habits and some pretty sophisticated digital threats.
So, if passwords are so weak, how do systems even begin to protect us? Well, that brings us to the really cool part. We're going to go behind the curtain to look at the clever tricks that keep your login safe, even if a company's database gets hacked.
Okay, here it is. The golden rule, the absolute #1 commandment of password security is this: you never, ever store a password as plain, readable text. Any system that does this is just asking for trouble. It's the cardinal sin of security.
So what do they do instead? They use a process called hashing. The best way to think about it is like creating a unique digital fingerprint for your password. Hashing takes your password, runs it through a really complex math problem, and spits out this unique string of text. And here's the most crucial part. It's a one-way street. You can't take that fingerprint and reverse engineer it to figure out what the original password was. No way.
So here's how it actually works in practice. When you type your password, the system doesn't look at the password itself. Nope. It immediately hashes what you just typed, and then it compares that new hash to the one it has stored in its database. If those two fingerprints match, boom, you're in. The system never even needs to see or know your actual password after you've set it up.
Now, this seems pretty secure, right? It's a solid system. But there's a catch. What happens when two different people, maybe on the very same website, choose the exact same super common password, like password123?
Well, here's the problem. A standard hashing algorithm will produce the exact same hash for the exact same password. So if user A and user B both use password123, their stored hash is identical. This is where hackers get clever. They have these massive pre-computed lists called rainbow tables, basically a cheat sheet with the hashes for millions of common passwords. If they steal a database and find a hash that matches one on their list, they instantly know the password for every single user who chose it.
So how do we fix this? We have to make every single hash unique, even for identical passwords. And the solution is actually beautifully simple. It's called salting. Just like it says, it's all about adding a random, unique string of data to the password before it gets hashed. Think of it like adding a secret, unique pinch of spice to every password before you toss it in the hashing blender.
And here's what that simple idea looks like in action. Before the system hashes my password, it just tacks on a unique random string. That's the salt. So now, even if 1 million users all pick my password, each one gets a different salt. And that means each person ends up with a completely different final hash stored in the database. And just like that, those big rainbow table cheat sheets become totally useless. Problem solved.
Now, hashing and salting are fantastic for protecting the password itself in the database. But what if someone just steals it directly from you?
That's why modern security needs another step, adding more layers. Because let's face it, one lock on your front door is never enough. This is exactly where multi-factor authentication, or MFA, comes into play. And it's a really simple idea. To prove your identity, you need to provide more than just one piece of evidence. You need to combine different types of proof to show it's really you. These proofs, or factors, they all fall into three simple categories. First, there's something you know, like your password or a PIN. Second, there's something you have, a physical thing, like your phone or a security key. And third, there's something you are, a part of you, like your fingerprints or your face. Real multi-factor authentication means combining at least two of these different types. And that something you are factor, biometrics, is a total game changer. Why? Well, for one, it's inherently unique to you, so it's tough to fake. It's also incredibly user-friendly. You don't have to remember anything. It's already built right into the phone you carry around every single day. And you can't exactly lend your fingerprint to a friend, which makes it super secure.
All of this is really pushing us away from relying just on passwords. And that brings us to the future of logging in. It's a future that's being built to make things both easier and safer by letting trusted services vouch for who you are.
You have definitely used Single Sign-On, or SSO, probably without even thinking about it. It's basically like a digital master key. You log in once to a trusted provider, like your work account or your Google account, and that one login is then used to unlock access to dozens of other apps without you having to log in over and over again.
This whole magic trick is powered by a few key technologies working behind the scenes. You know when you see a Login with Google button on a new website? That's probably a protocol called OpenID Connect. Or when you log into a work tool like Salesforce with your main company account, that's likely using something called SAML. And when you let a new app access your calendar, that's OAuth handling the permissions. They all do slightly different things, but they share one common goal: to verify your identity securely without you needing to create yet another password.
Okay, we've covered a ton of ground, so let's bring it all home. What can you do right now to put all this knowledge into action and make your digital life more secure?
All right, here's your security checklist. Use long, complex passwords, and seriously, get a password manager to do the heavy lifting for you. It solves the complexity and the reuse problems all in one go. But look, if you only remember one single thing from this entire explainer, please make it this one, the one that's highlighted. Wherever it is offered, always enable multi-factor authentication. It is by far your strongest possible defense. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We all want our accounts to be as secure as a fortress, but we also want to be able to just walk right in without any hassle. Every new security feature, every login method, is constantly trying to find that perfect sweet spot between the two. So the question for you to think about is, for your own digital life, where do you draw that line?